Hello everybody and welcome to one more video on big units, and this time it is a big unit. I mean, at least the units necessary for this very famous action that you can see here, Crete, the airborne assault, of course, and these are the units related to the first day of fighting on this island, which became famous for several reasons. One of them is the largest airborne attack up to then. Also for being the cemetery of the Fallschirmjäger. Sometimes it is called like that because since then, as the German Fallschirmjäger, the German paratroopers suffered so many casualties that this kind of operations were cancelled. Even so, it is a very funny campaign that I always wanted to do, because when I was a kid, I was reading my comic books, and Crete was almost mandatory, because it talks about the courage, of course, of the German Fallschirmjäger, which landed in gliders, also sent by parachute, of course, and also the defense, the Cretans population, which also defended their land very with plenty of strength, which cost them, by the way, a lot, because there were plenty of massacres made after enduring the fighting on the civilian population. In fact, it was a fight that had nothing of beautiful on that regard, because many of the Germans were shot in the air. They made reprisals on the population, also on the British. Many British were immediately shot as soon as they were captured. Same happening to the Germans. So it was not a very beautiful moment of history in that regard. Even so, it is a very valiant action from both sides, and with plenty of interest in terms of modeling and, of course, historical interest. So let's see what I have here. So here are all necessary units for the four scenarios of the book. So this is the first wave at Malem, one of the airports that had to be conquered. There were 3. Sorry. And then there is Prison Valley. Here is what is necessary for the Germans. This cough doesn't stay very well, because I like to give the sensation of importance during the videos, and coughing is not really a very good support to that idea of mine. Well, then you have the third, which is second wave at Retimo, another airport, and finally you have Heraklion, another airport that had to be secured. So what I have here is the sufficient figures, models, artillery pieces, whatever, airplanes and gliders, to portray on the tabletop any of these four scenarios. This was my idea. So we have here 14 Fallschirmjäger companies, 7 here and another 7 here, all with their relative support. Support is, of course, the command groups, some anti-tank rifles, 50mm mortars. The anti-tank rifles are in 2 forms, with figures laying on the ground and some others being protected by some low walls. There are also some MG. There are 5 of these MMGs, the MMG 34, obviously. Then there is also some heavier support, like the 37mm PaK, the PaK 36. There's also some mountain artillery with the 75 piece here. There is a 105mm mortar also, which was in fact a scaled up 81mm mortar. Then there is also the 81mm here, more MMGs, more mortars, 50mm, more anti-tank rifles, etc. There is also a light infantry shoots 75mm gun, and there is also in order for the oops, let me take this thing out of here. In order to tow the mountain gun, there is a Kettenkraftrad and also some observers, some forward observers. And finally, you have here some light. What is the name of these things? The light. Let me check. Sorry. Now I am having a blank. We call in Portugal a branca. Branca is when the brain is not working, as it is the case. So, but at the same time, you can see the book very well designed, lovely portrayed as usual in very good rapid fire style, and those small guns are in the. Let me try to find it. You can see here the 105mm mortar together with the. I didn't show you. Together with the rocket launcher, the Dogerat rocket launcher, and here they are. There is a 75mm recoilless gun. It has a more complicated name, but it is this weapon here that you can see. There are, if I'm not mistaken, 3 of them or 2? 2. 2 is the maximum. So the numbers that you can see here are always related to the maximum weapons or figures or whatever that you need in the scenario that demands more of those figures. Finally, in terms of foot figures, you have here a company of engineers with mines and with flamethrowers. A little bit exaggerated because you don't need that many figures. I think you only need some 8. And there are some 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 or 14 of them. But these were, in fact, the only things I had before this book coming out. I have already plenty of paratroopers, both for the Ramka Brigade in North Africa, also late war for Fallschirmjäger, for Normandy, for Cassino, for the Ardennes. But I've never made this early Fallschirmjäger groups. The only thing I had was, as I was telling you, the pioneers, these engineers, and also the Junkers 52. I had 2 of them already made for many years. So I started with, in terms of this book, I started with also. I also had this guy here. It is a Frontliner resin DFS 230, and I used this one as a kind of a template. And I copied in wood and in blue board. I copied the resin one, and the reason is that even if this is made by Frontline Wargaming, a very nice company, but the problem is nowadays asking things from England, as everybody knows, it's not very easy for them to come to mainland Europe. One of them even had a Fallschirmjäger with an MG15 on top. So related to brands, for figures, you only have here 3 brands. For the engineers, you have Prizer here, so hard plastic figures. You have for everything else, you have Revell and Airfix. That probably you can recognize in the middle of the Fallschirmjäger companies. But many of them, a few dozens of them, were also converted in order to fit all the support weapons, both light and heavier support weapons. All of them are converted Airfix and Revell figures. There is also 20mm anti-aircraft gun. Sorry, I forgot to mention it. And so even the light infantry gun is also with improvised crews from infantry. From you can see the guy pointing is a Revell figure. The other 2 are Airfix. So they are everywhere. Okay, 50mm are again Revell and Airfix. I think the guy laying down using the mortar. The number 1 operator of the mortar is a guy fighting the Mauser, but this time was converted. Arms are bent and things like that, and so he's firing a scratch build 50mm mortar. Same with the crew of the heavy mortar. Same with all crews of the machine guns, crews of the PAC 36, 37mm pack guns. Same with the mountain gun. Also the drivers and occupants of the Kettenkraftrad, which is in fact one of the few models I bought on purpose for this group, which is S models Kettenkraftrad. I also built another one for the late war Fallschirmjägers. So you can see most of this group here was heavily converted, as you can see. So infantrymen that turned into other arms figures. The companies didn't, the Fallschirmjäger companies didn't receive almost any conversion. I don't know if I change anything. I don't think so. I use them straight from the box. So I used around 4 or 5 company boxes of Revel and some 3, I think, of FX. Not all of the boxes were completely used, but I used in order to have variety and also to change plenty of them, as you can see by the conversions. So I use approximately, I think, some 8 boxes, more or less. There are still some in the stash that I don't know, frankly, what I'll do with them, but because I at the moment I already covered almost everything there is to be covered in terms of Fallschirmjägers. So more converted crews, as you can see here. And then I toyed, of course, with this. Some of them are holding ammunition boxes. Some of them were cut in 2 and placed. You can remember this one marching, which is the Airfix marching figure, but with I think Revel legs. The fighter is also a conversion. You can see the conversion here, so you can see that. For instance, you see legs coming from a figure. The guy is, I think, is one running with an MP40, if I'm not mistaken. So they are all converted figures, because there are no, in plastic at least, there are no such figures. I mean, there is in Kaiser and in some in Orion, if I'm mistaken, but I didn't go there. So I used what I had because I had plenty of them in the stash. Another thing you find here is 23 of these things. As a matrix, I used the Revel one, so there are 10. Each box has 2 of these containers, so I use 10 of these containers here in this total of 24. But the other 14, excluding of course the Revel ones, are scratch built, and I used the same measurements. I used pieces of wood with some pegs made of plastic and some round cylinders I had made of wood in order to make the containers. There are 24 of them. You have them here for the infantry. Sorry, with a red band. There's some light support weapons here in green. You also have the Pioneer containers in yellow, and artillery, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in I think it's artillery in green. So, and there is one of the scenario which is more heavy on figures for the Germans is this one. It's Prison Valley. Okay. One last thing I wanted to tell you is it is a good thing because there are plenty of MP40 figures in both boxes, which is in fact is true, because in each for Fallschirmjäger there was one with MP40, which was a ratio superior to the one in the infantry. So you can have plenty of MP40s here, as you can see, in your Fallschirmjäger. The commanders are some of them. I told you that some of them, in fact, are coming from different boxes. For instance, this commander here is with the blue vest. You already discarded his jumpsuit. Is a famous Airfix Deutsches Afrika Korps officer. Here you see a matchbox one also, and there is also another group, or no, 3 more groups. Sorry, and you can see the matchbox figure here from the infantry. Another one from the infantry over there. Another one from the infantry over there. So there are also some meddling from other boxes of our beloved plastic toy soldiers. One last word for the Tante U, for the Junkers 52. I remember being a kid and playing inside one of them. Yeah, I'm from Coimbra in Portugal, and there is still a place called Portugal dos Pequenitos, which is a kind of an open air museum with very small Portuguese houses and Portuguese monuments where kids can play. It's a very nice place. And when I was a kid, I was playing inside one of them. There was a big Junkers 52 from the Portuguese Air Force, is stuck in the middle of that park. We would enter and we'd play. I would jump from of course from that door, thinking I was also a German Fallschirmjäger attacking Crete or Eben Emael or whatever you want. Then I would of course fell in the ground, maybe from 1 meter, so not a big jump. But this was my first acquaintance with the Junkers 52. Then these Junkers went to the Air Museum in Lisbon, close to Lisbon, and in Sintra, by the way. And nowadays we have I don't know if it's still there, but I think there is a G91, a Portuguese fighter of the 60s and 70s. and okay, yeah, I think everything is seen. Hope we have enjoyed. Sorry for the cough. It also makes part of the life of a modeler, especially the ones who talk too much, like it is my case. Hope you have enjoyed, and see you later with another big unit. Okay, bye bye. Cheers.